Shalom, Rainicorns. It's Ellie, the Empress here. So, let's open up properly. Divine Feminine Essence, Gratitude. Ladies, I highly suggest picking up several bottles or make it yourself. I learned that you can make it yourself. Making or picking up several bottles of Florida water. This summer just started and we're in for a doozy. Up until, we're not talking about summer break for school. I'm talking about up until, literally up until autumn. So, you may notice if you are here live, I have members only comments on. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do after the stream is over. I have that intentionally for a reason. You may be able to guess why. So, we're talking about Tantra. And what I notice about these concepts that awakened, enlightened, aware people like to use, like people love to use these terminologies and envision concepts. And when it comes to embodying, when it comes to exemplifying, when it comes to actually putting forth effort to live out these spoken concepts, that's where a lot trip, stumble, and a lot of times fall. What I realize as well is the fact that people love to talk down on the ignorance of others. And while, I can enjoy, for myself personally, I can enjoy my level of intellect, I never found it amusing to talk down on other people's lack of intellect. What I do agree with is observing how people maneuver and making adjustments and being like, okay, if they lack in this area, move accordingly and deal with them in this sort of aspect. What am I getting at? People like to claim that their chakras are aligned. People like to claim that they have achieved Christ consciousness. People like to claim many different things when it comes to having self-control, when it comes to not objectifying individuals, when it comes to not being judgmental of individuals. Yet I see time and time again people either fall or it wasn't true in the first place, and that was a mask, that was a facade. As an individual, I do not grasp the concept of having a spiritual facade. However, I've learned over this time that a lot of people have spiritual facades. That's shocking to me. So over a period of time, slowly, the mask, the act fades away. That's how it is in really every situation. However, when we're talking about dealing with spirits, not just having a spiritual aesthetic, it's okay to look the part. It's okay to accentuate a look. Catching on to lingo as if it's the latest slang. Even using things like intuition or gut feelings and maneuvering based on that. Those things can be good, assisting someone in the beginning. Over time, keeping up a practice, keeping up a routine, keeping up the development of said image, there comes a split. Is this an image that is being portrayed for others, or is this the embodiment of an individual's actual personality? I realize people like costumes. People love costumes. So, through glamour magic, I've been able to achieve mastering the perfect costumes. I took a break from the tree. People treat me different. My energy is different. My powers activate in different ways depending on how my ether is styled. So I observe people who have locks. People who have locks and go on a lock journey tend to all behave a certain type of way. So you'll see things because I've cut off my ether before. I wasn't bald. I had like maybe an inch and a half of hair on my head. I notice when people have locks, they tend to have this pattern of cutting off their locks, either reattaching them or growing them out again. And it's a cycle that many of those who go on the lock journey go through. And then apparently there was a huge wave of people who had locks for the trend, not realizing the spiritual aspect of having locks, along with the fact that we are again in another natural hair movement, which I didn't realize since my lifestyle is having natural hair. So this was never a trend for me. I've always been this way. Crown chakra. People like to use terminologies, lingo, and again use their intuition and see things with their third eye. There's a difference between an enlightened individual and a conspiracy theorist. Many conspiracy theorists may be enlightened. Just because someone's a conspiracy theorist does not mean that they are enlightened. Just because someone disagrees with the mainstream narrative does not mean that they are enlightened to the actual truth. People have easily started to say, this is a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, just to appear as if their third eye is open and that they know something that someone else doesn't. And it happens so much, so often, that I'm kind of like, okay, I watched it happen for a while just to see where it would go. And it didn't go anywhere. And that's the issue. People are totally okay with going nowhere very loudly while claiming that their third eye is open. Throat chakra. People speak and say anything. And because they add spiritual lingo to it, that makes it the truth from their perspective. In a way, that is true because every perspective is true to an extent. However, some truths fade into a lie. If something starts off as a lie, of course it's always a lie. And people try to speak things into existence. Some things do manifest that way. That's how pretty much all manifestation happens. There's a difference between manifestation and manipulation. So manipulating a situation and changing it against someone else's will, that's manipulation. Speaking into existence and changing a situation for the will of one's own good, for their perspective, without affecting anyone else's free will, that is manifestation. Heart chakra. I almost want to skip over that one. People don't know what love is. People confuse lust with love. People confuse care and love for romance. People confuse having a connection with romantic chemistry, sexual chemistry, lustful chemistry. Solar plexus. People confuse joy with adrenaline and dopamine. When people think that they're happy, they're really just activated by something. And a lot of times It's not good for them. They confuse having joy with being excited. And I say that because, well, why can't you be excited? Why can't you be joyful while being excited? I'm not saying being excited is an issue. People find excitement in negativity. How is negativity making you joyful? Sacral chakra. This is what we're speaking about today. Root chakra. People lack balance and groundedness. The root chakra is the most demonized and most necessary chakra. You need your root chakra in order to align the rest. All are necessary. Balancing and grounding the root chakra is the basis of stability in one's physical self and spiritual self. The sacral chakra gets activated quite easily in many individuals. That's a very good thing. People confuse that for arousal. Sometimes I can not speak from the perspective of a male, so I get it. You guys have physical body parts that act differently from females, so I totally get it if you get confused because your body behaves a certain way. I get that. For the female body, our wombs get activated in order for us being told, like, we need to work on something, we need to clear something out, we have something going on, we need to tap in spiritually and check on whatever is happening in the cosmic realms of reality. Our wombs do that. That's why babies are made there, because that's the matrix. That's the portal. Life enters the matrix through our portal. Males create an activation of life through their portal. Yes, parthenogenesis. We're not in that reality currently where that is the norm, where that is the predominant practice. And I say that as someone who free bleeds. Free bleeding is when you do not use tampons or pads during a cycle. So when I menstruate directly into the toilet because I listen to my body of when blood is on its way exiting my body. Listening to my womb, listening to my sacral chakra. Tantra. It just got so real. Gratitude, divine feminine. Again, ladies, specifically, bathe in Florida water. Whether you think I'm being figurative or literal. You can get the ingredients and put it in your bath water. I digress. It's so important. It's more important than I thought it was. For this summer. Remember, this video is always going to apply. I am making it during Saturn retrograde in Pisces. This is a very pivotal time period, and everyone in the future will see that. Tantra. When we observe these think pieces, these podcasts, these religious, spiritual teachers, and people who claim, therapists, people who claim to have the knowledge, wisdom, and information necessary for people to have romantic relationships, successful relationships. Why is it failing so bad if there are so many experts? Why are there so many absent fathers? I don't want to hear anything about the government. Why are there so many toxic mothers, whether married or baby mom? I've experienced both growing up. So, if the answers are here, why are people not abiding by what's necessary in order to have successful relationships in the masses? Because if it's nature, it shouldn't be something that we have to practice to get better at. It should be natural. People lose control of their sacral chakra and they do not intentionally utilize Tantra. Tantra is the practice of utilizing sexual, sensual, sacral chakra energy in order to create, whether that's children, making babies. So you have children, projects, businesses, organizations, family constructs, not specifically making the children, but organizing the family construct and the family unit itself, organizing it properly. That requires creative energy because everyone's family looks different. Some families have one child. Some families have multiple children. Some families have one wife. Some families have multiple wives. Some families have pets. Some families have adopted children. Some families have bonus babies or stepchildren. Whatever sort of way the family or tribe looks, even if there are multiple males in the dynamic, if you're polyandrous or polyamorous, no matter how the family construct appears or looks, it requires creative energy and concentration in order to make it work. Open communication. There is no other conversation to have outside of, are you being honest about what's going on? Are you being honest about your desires? Are you being honest about your goals? Are you being honest about this lineage, this legacy that's being created? When people claim to desire a legacy, what does that mean? They're claiming verbally that they desire children. What legacy are those children carrying on generation to generation? Let's move the mom out the picture. The children carry on the legacy. What principles are those children learning and instilling in their children that they learn from their parents? That's the legacy, not the number of children. The principles that the children can carry on to their children, that itself is the legacy. The legacy is generational wealth. What sort of information, what sort of assets, what sort of land, what sort of finances, what sort of policies, what sort of trust, what sort of businesses do those children gain and can manipulate for their own personal gain down the line? Are they to build it? Are they to sell it? Are they to teach to others? In what context are these children going to carry on a legacy created by parents? That is the legacy. It's not about a type that you desire in a person. It's about Who complements how I am as an individual? What do I lack as an individual that complements? What do I lack as an individual that someone else has, along with the fact that they lack things that I may complement? How do we make a match? How am I strong? How are they strong? What can I assist with? What can they assist with? What sort of foundation does this person have as an individual? What sort of foundation do I have as an individual? How am I creative? How are they creative? Are we able to collaborate? Masturbation is wasted on senseless pornography, and we're in a place now where people are allowed to create their own pornography without having to go through the many avenues that it took before. It's as simple as becoming a regular content creator like a YouTuber or Instagram, TikToker, Facebook poster. It's all the same now, when before it was much more complex to get into that particular industry. Using arousal for the sake of releasing that energy is such a waste, when that energy can be used to manifest rather than just sitting and watching said pornography. It's dead. Without an intention to create anything at all. That's a waste. When in fact, one can utilize masturbation for the magic that it is. Oh, we forgot everything's magic? We forgot that everything's magic? Yes, masturbation is magic. Finding out on a personal note that many males would take my pictures and do that. Finding out that many males would use my pictures to do that with shocked me, considering the fact that at the beginning time period, I didn't think that anything that I posted was arousing. However, I also then had to realize it doesn't matter if I'm intentionally trying to be arousing or not. My energy alone activates the sacral chakra. So then I started to play with that a little bit. I started to have a little bit of fun with that concept, just because I was enjoying myself. And realizing the reactions, not attention, reactions. Because that requires more people flooding in. And that's not ever what happened. It was conversations. Just conversations that would happen. So there's a difference between having fun for the reactions versus attention. There's big difference. And I would just have fun because that's what I like to do. That's my type of art. That is my expression. Seeing how people would dislike how much I enjoy myself for myself and believe that it should be at the benefit of someone else. Just I'm genuinely okay. So someone else is allowed to enjoy my body, but I'm not allowed to enjoy my body and share my body freely as I please, as art, in the construct of the minds of these enlightened people. The average everyday man may not totally comprehend exactly the level I'm speaking on, and that's okay. Person, not just males here, we're talking about females as well. A lot of feminines like to shame those who live free. I don't fit the narrative of a lot of individuals. People who look the way that I look, despite what I wear, it does not matter what I wear. I have tested this intentionally over a couple of years now. Doesn't matter what I wear at all. All that matters is I look good because I take care of myself. And my energy is a certain type of way. People get very magnetized by my energy and activated, and I have extreme magnetism. People confuse that for lust as well, because someone may not even be attracted to me in that sort of way, yet that's the only attraction that they know of. So they think in their minds that they must be sexual towards me. They must pursue a relationship with me. They must pursue a partnership with me in some way that they can benefit a relationship from, even if it's not for me. That was interesting because I didn't know that that was possible. But so I say that to say this. Use your energy, your tantric power to manifest your life, not a relationship. Relationships come and go. Finding that solid partnership romantically is possible for everyone, and that's beautiful. In the meantime, focus on the projects that benefit you when that partnership arrives. If that partnership arrives, some are totally fine with that not happening, and that is okay too. Being at peace with oneself, no matter the state, is Tantra. Everyone gets urges. Everyone desires. It's a matter of self-control, transmutation, and using that energy for self rather than wasting it with someone else, for someone else, and just being manipulated and used, creating a soul tie and a bondage to an individual when you could have just kept your energy to yourself. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and get a membership to the Tantric Time Lords tier, and you'll be able to see the Tantric Time Lords podcast, and you will also be able to get it at a lower price if you subscribe on my Instagram, Real Talk with Ellie, Talk with 2Ks. The Tantric Time Lords podcast is on there as well. So, yeah. Yo, it's about using all the chakras properly and not claiming that someone is completely enlightened without having the balance of the last chakras. Let's not talk about these chakras up here. Let's get these in order, okay? Saturn, retrograde in Pisces. Saturn is the root chakra. Time to get solidified. Time to completely finish the foundation. Time to go back and fix the foundation if it's broken or damaged. Time to make those repairs. Shalom, Rainicorns. I will see you in the next one. Thawara. And that means thank you in Hebrew.